Hi everyone, let's talk about Whistle Mountain, which I just did a full playthrough for. If you haven't seen that yet and you've arrived here first, it's linked in the description so you can see all of the game laid out and see how it plays and stuff. This is just about what I think if you're into that. So what do I think about it? Well, I think it's fantastic. I really enjoyed Whistle Stop from a couple of years ago now. A nice train game where the biggest thing that is linked into Whistle Mountain is the concept of all of these different upgrades that, so many of them feel like that completely breaks the game. But if all of them kind of bend the rules in such a massive way, then you end up being equally powerful, but also end up with really radically different games because the rules have been changed in all of these different ways. So it's the same designer as Whistle Stop, Scott Caputo, teaming up with Luke Laurie, who designed one of my favorite games of the year it came out. I can't quite remember. Is it 2017? Manhattan Project Energy Empire. A fantastic worker placement game. So the two of them teaming up together, I had to see this. And it's got airships and stuff in it. So the core of the game from there is very different. That's rather than laying down all of these tiles and train routes and things, we have scaffolding that we are laying down. We have meeples that are on the verge of falling into this whirlpool and losing us a load of points. We are trying to lay scaffolding down to generate points. You want it next to as many other pieces of scaffolding as possible to get more and more points, but also in a position to try and park your airships next to them to generate resources. As well as having these gaps so that you can nicely put your airships kind of adjacent to scaffolding, you are trying to make areas of the scaffolding, 2x2 or 2x3 and then 3x3 for the huge machines, to kind of plaster these machines over them so they won't have the resources anymore, but they will have a usually much better effect from this machine activating. And you can put your airships inside the machines and it will still generate resources from around the side. So it's this really interesting kind of worker placement stuff. There's more standard worker placement spots with how you get the machines and how you can get some cards that also bend the rules of the game, and more scaffolding and stuff. There's more conventional worker placement spots there. But this really interesting kind of spatial element of not just how you lay these things out, but where is the best place to put your airship. And depending on the machines that have been put down as well, you have different sides of airship, and the putting down a load of smaller machines is great, but your great big airship isn't going to fit in there, so you need to have somewhere that can go and be most effective. The time that you put down all of this stuff, you get to build most of your things, is in the forge phase where all of your workers come back. And that's a nice variable thing as well, that you don't have to, especially as the game is drawing to a close, you don't have to wait to place all of your stuff. You can try and rapidly build all of this stuff if you think it is going to help you. There is a lovely race to the top kind of that at the start it's kind of slow and you're just milling around getting a few resources at a time. But the game definitely escalates as it goes on, and especially with the rule that as soon as we get to this bridge level, as soon as we start putting machines above that, the water level starts rising. And so that completely kind of blocks off certain machines. Even if they get a bit waterlogged, those machines won't work anymore. A load of scaffolding that's down low that you were getting resources from, can't get that anymore. If your meeples are still hanging out low on the scaffolding because you haven't moved enough up there, they are going to go into the whirlpool and be in trouble. And potentially, if you let it happen, your airships that get waterlogged are just gone. And that is a worker that is permanently lost for you for the rest of the game. But so we're putting these machines down, but also we're moving our workers. So you can rescue workers from the whirlpool and put them up on the scaffolding, or you can move meeples that are hanging out at the side in the barracks. They're hanging out in there already, and they're at risk of falling into the whirlpool, but they're not losing your points yet. So you want to get them on the scaffolding, because when your workers are covered up by a machine, they move to the side and get promoted in this tower. The first person to go in each level of the tower gets a special rosette bonus that they can use later on, but also that makes those workers, the promoted workers, are now worth points. So the higher the better, they're going to be worth more points. But there's a really nice interplay in there between kind of often the stuff that you will place, other people will get to use before you. So you putting down a nice area of scaffolding because you want to put your machine in there, well, you've got to either have enough builds to get your machine straight on there, or it's got to come around right back to you. You putting a great machine out there, you're not going to be the first person to use it. You're going to be the last person that gets to use it next. So you are kind of planning ahead and especially trying to get your workers from the barracks onto scaffolding where you hope that people are going to build things. And that can come back to bite you, that there can be a bit of, there's not, maybe there is in some of the upgrades that I haven't seen, but I don't think there's out and out take that in the game, but there can be a bit of meanness in blocking other people out of things, in taking space in an awkward way that means a machine, a meeple is already there. You might have seen this in the playthrough already, that you can just place things in such a way that meeple is just stuck there now. And maybe they're a bit safer from getting knocked into the whirlpool, but there's no chance of them getting promoted unless the player spends another action to move them somewhere else, or deliberately racing to put machines up on the bridge because you can see that other players' things are going to get knocked into the whirlpool, or they're going to lose an airship or something like that. There is that element to it. I don't think it's out and out stealing or destroying or anything like that, but it has got that bit of an edge to it. But yeah, like Whistle Stop, tons of these upgrades, tons of variability in that. Each player just gets one starting upgrade as well from a massive bag full of huge powers that I assume you've seen the playthrough, so it's not spoiling anything. That when you place a particular one of your workers on a machine, it activates twice. Can be a huge deal. Placing your airships on scaffolding rather than next to it can open loads of different doors. And there's tons of game bending abilities like that. And as well as Whistle Stop has this beautiful art style and beautiful presentation, especially with the added effect of having these great big wooden airships down as well now. I think, for kind of ultra Care Bears like us, that edge might be a little too much. I don't think so. I still really enjoyed Whistle Mountain. That's kind of the only thing that I would kind of point to as a maybe. But overall, I think, I had no other word for after maybe there. Overall, though, I have really enjoyed Whistle Mountain, and I look forward to more. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll join me for another playthrough. Bye, everyone.